Hey, everybody, welcome back to Pro AV today. As I've grown in the community, my passions have kind of flipped from an end user and consumer to the technical side. One of those places that specifically that's happened is in theme parks and themed entertainment. So I obviously started a lot younger when I was a consumer of a lot of these themed attractions. And as I've continued to grow and get involved more in the AV side of the industry, I've become fascinated by the technology, especially when it comes to technology that's enabling guest experience. And my next guest today is an expert in all of those topics, and I'm so excited to have her on today. We've got Lisa J. Schanley, Western Division board member for the Themed Entertainment Association. I think I got that right. That's a lot of superlatives. But Lisa, thanks so much for coming on.
Hi, thanks for having me, Ben. It's actually the Western North America board of the Themed Entertainment Association. I know, it's a mouthful.
I can't even put that on your lower third. That's too many. It's too many letters.
I know, it's too much.
We'll just put TEA or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll make it work. But we're so excited to have you on today because you and I have had a chance to talk a few different times. One of the companies that you work with is a company called Hypervision. And you guys are doing incredible work when it comes to holographic technology. And naturally, that kind of dovetails into the conversation of themed entertainment and experiential entertainment attractions, things like that. But from your perspective as somebody who's been in the industry for a little bit and seen the shifts of technology, talk to me about where we are in kind of the themed entertainment and experience world versus maybe like 10 to 15 years ago. How has that changed?
Wow. So
huge question. A lot of time.
So technically I've been in the industry for about 5 years, but I became very involved and ensconced in it immediately. So I do have insights from people that I have surrounded myself with. And so what
you got to give yourself more credit. You can't just start like that.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm an expert. No, here's the thing. What I would say is, from my observation, as well as being confirmed by experts that I have worked with, that I have had the pleasure of meeting and hearing speak within the Themed Entertainment Association, is that there have been sort of a few cycles. For a long time, it was the coasters, right? The big, powerful coasters, and people just wanted the thrill. And then they started playing with VR, and you saw people adding helmets and things and goggles and things to coasters, and, kind of tacking things on, and didn't really seem to take off. Right. And then, I would fast forward, VR had a place for a while, then fast forward, and you kind of in technology, right? This is where we're going. We're talking about technology. Was your question, or was it just in general themed entertainment?
Look, you know what? Go wherever you want. This is your show.
Okay. Okay. I love that. So the fact is that as soon as we started with these heavily themed lands, which I believe probably started somewhere in Europe, but then really took off with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. As soon as the big guys at Disney and other places started realizing how popular that was, and even at Universal, the company I was with, did a lot of the work there, and then came to us and said, can you repeat that all over the world? So they realized what a huge success they had. But it was more than just adding, a helmet to a ride. It wasn't, they didn't add helmets to rides, but I mean, it wasn't just about adding VR, tacking something on. What they did was they invented new experiences. They came up with the wand activation. How do we make something go off with these wands, and so it's really been about thinking outside of the box, in my opinion. Really the biggest thing, that I think that's coming is, and I've had this confirmed from a good friend of mine, Garrick Hansen. He's over at EXP. And he also has a really great podcast called Rum and Nerdy. You should check it out.
You can't plug other stuff on my show.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can
No, I'm
cut that.
kidding. I'm kidding.
It's a totally
We gotta
different.
have him on as a guest.
I know. Well, first of all, EXP is very involved in the Themed Entertainment Association, but he is on that particular show with um, Greg Center, who is the president of the Themed Entertainment Association on the Eastern Division. Long story short, they really concur that the advancements that they think are coming are going to be finding that seamless experience, marrying the two worlds of virtual and physical. And how do you make that happen in a theme park, right? It's really trending about, finding guest interaction and technology that's going to unify that guest experience, right? Between the physical and virtual. And I think it started with, coming off a ride at Harry Potter and having your wand and being able to make stuff magically happen. But I think we're going to see a lot more beyond that. And if I have anything to say about it, we will.
Well, I love that you brought up really the origin of like the rides, right? That was one of the first places that you saw hardcore theming, right? And maybe it's the dark rides, it's whatever, but you saw really the theming and the interactivity really being able to take off, jumping up to things like the RF technology that they use. Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. But what's interesting too, I think as an industry, we've evolved even beyond just this idea of like theme parks as a whole. Right now, it's you see themed entertainment and kind of themed attractions in things like museums and art installations and activations and walkthroughs and things like that. Talk to me about some of those places that you're seeing. Really, that not only necessarily TEA, but some of these new attractions and ways that the entertainment industry is kind of evolving into these new places.
Well, gosh, that's such a big subject. So yes, in the Themed Entertainment Association, we have members that are museums. We give awards to museums. We have the Theas every year, where we've had many museums, zoos, aquariums, any kind of guest visitor experience, whether you're a tourist and you're going to visit something, or you're just in a city that has a pop-up activation or a really cool, like the Van Gogh experience, something like that. All of these sort of border on, some of them are heavily themed. Some of them have animatronics and characters in costumes and, the whole thing. Some of them are just projection mapping and done, pretty seamlessly and stylishly, but they're an experience and people are eating it up. That's what I'm seeing. But also the IPs are starting to realize this, right? Not just Disney and Universal, but the studios. You see Fox, not the Disney side, but Fox in terms of like some of their films. You see Lionsgate, you see Warner Brothers, aside from the Harry Potter side of the films that they have. You see them doing theme parks and things like that in other countries. So, and also location-based entertainment. Let's not forget, those one-offs like The Void or Dreamscapes, Alien Zoo, or things like that. There's some really interesting things going on out there that all kind of fall under this vast, broad umbrella of themed entertainment.
And I'll add to that list too the Meow Wolf installations.
Oh God, yes, that counts. Meow Wolf. I'm sorry because I'm from New Mexico originally, and so that I always bring Meow Wolf into the mix, and I failed to do so this time. But the other thing that I didn't mention are live shows and live events. Those are becoming heavily themed. Even concerts. Like I went to a U2 concert, and I went, "Who the heck is doing this stuff? This is very themed and very technically intricate and complex." And it was pretty cool.
Well, you talked about bringing the digital and the physical worlds together. And, one of the things too that I think has been really cool, especially with you talk about that intellectual property that a lot of these owners have, is bringing maybe the book or the movie to real life as well. And that in its current form has kind of spawned things like Galaxy's Edge at the Disney parks and obviously the Harry Potter parks and things like that. But, talk a little bit about how actually the guest is driving a lot of that, right? The guest is kind of demanding these really deep immersive experiences, whether that's, the Galactic Star Cruiser at Disney as well. The guests are demanding these all-in interactive experiences. Talk about how the guest is really driving that.
Well, the guest is, I mean, and this is how it should be, right? Guest experience should drive any kind of changes, any kind of innovation. The experience and the user experience and the story is what needs to drive, right? So all of that combined, obviously you don't want to go, well, what do the customers want necessarily? That shouldn't be number one. The story is what you start with, right? It starts with story. And what is that story? And then how do we bring that to life? And that's where people are just eating it up, whether that's about, it's not just in the last 4 years or however, when, I guess it's only been 2 years since COVID. It feels like 4.
I don't even know. Some places it's, 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah. But not just since then, but people are just starved for something different. Something unique that immerses them. And that's why you're seeing the goggles, the Oculus, and the different experiences and the metaverse taking off. People want to explore. And I think, if you want to get philosophical here, I don't have any proof about this or any insight into some kind of things in development, but I'm sure it's happening now that I'm putting it out there. I think that this energy that's toward these ever, we want more, we want more, we want more. It's not just like throw some more theming at us. They want to see it keep getting more technically advanced.
Well, people want to go deeper. People want to be part of the story.
Exactly. They want to become, to pull an old movie they want to be Tron. They want to have
that old.
Well, but I mean, it's old for a lot of 20-somethings. Maybe they know it. But the truth is, they want to be sitting at their computer and be able to jump into that screen and move around and have it be seamless. So that's what we're trying. We're trying to create the simulation of these experiences. They want the holodeck. They want to be able to push a button and have roast beef come out.
How do I get one of those at my desk?
I know, right? So, this is all my opinion, but this comes from being a marketing and PR professional and having my own business doing that for many years. That's what people want. They want the best and they want the most in-depth. They want to be immersed.
Well, and part of that too, and I'll kind of shift gears just a little bit. Part of that experience comes from innovation and technology, right? It's not always the easiest thing to do. Without innovation, it's very difficult to find new ways to utilize technology, right? Hypervision is a good example of this. And Hypervision is a company, if you aren't familiar, who basically builds standalone holograms or holographic displays, things like that. And, on the B2B and the business side of things, and obviously your partners, you're on the board of the TEA, what are some of the innovations and what are maybe some of the companies too, whether it be Hypervision or somebody else, what are these new companies bringing to the table in terms of innovation? What are some of the things that, they are helping do to progress the industry forward?
Oh, wow. You're asking me to know off the top of my head the names of the companies and what they're doing. But there are so many. I mean, I can name a few. Seventh Sense is doing some really cool stuff. Blue Cadet is doing some really great immersive stuff in museums. But really, it should not be about the innovation. It should be about the story. And innovation should come in to enhance the story, right? So, for instance, the wand activation. They wanted the wands to be able to do something. They had, not only did they have to have the RFI, whatever thing.
RFID.
RFID, thank you. I say RFI and RFD half the time. But not only did they have to have that, but they had to have something receptive, that looked good and that had the content and and that was relative to what was going on and the ability to deliver it, right? So, but the thing is, the innovation and the technology are the tools, right, for delivering the story. And anytime you start saying, well, let's just take this new tech and strap it on, like the helmet example, it doesn't necessarily resonate. It really needs to be part of enhancing that story, right? And there's so many amazing companies out there that are doing, I just am blown away every time I go to Infocom or, all these really cool conferences and you see the new tech and you're just like, wow.
I appreciate you kind of bringing me back down to earth a little bit because at times I personally fall victim into over teching things, and full transparency. I love finding ways for technology to fit, and sometimes you're right. It's about stepping back and thinking about that story and finding different ways to tell that story, and not necessarily utilizing a new piece of technology. We had David Nussbaum from Proto on, who was talking about Pepper's Ghost, which is an effect that's been around since the 1800s, still utilized very heavily in theme parks. So it doesn't always have to be new technology. And I'll give you that. That's fair, and I will hand it to you. But look, your insight is incredible because you have the opportunity really to focus on the guest experience side and the story side. And that's one of the things that I think TEA does such a fantastic job of. Not only that from an industry standpoint, but working through initiatives, like diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also working with organizations like OSHA and making sure there's ADA compliance. You guys have so many different verticals within TEA that you guys have to work with. But talk a little bit about some of the ways that you guys as an organization are continuing to move the industry forward.
Well, one of our upcoming conferences, that's one of our tentpole conferences, is really groundbreaking in that realm. It's called SATE, and it's an acronym for Story, Architecture, Technology, and Experience. And basically, they bring in people to talk about what are the new things that are going on. We've got somebody at this time. And actually, he is the co-chair of the communications committee and also on the board of the Themed Entertainment Association. His name's Michael Libby. He is the CEO of a company called World Builder, and they are metaverse peeps. That's what they do, but they're all about seamlessly finding ways to have it coincide. He's big into the digital twin, so that if you can't, ADA compliant, you can't go. You want to be able to experience, but you can't go to Disneyland for whatever reason. There's something, inhibiting you from being able to travel and do that or whatever. His big thing is being able to do that from wherever you are, the full experience. And that's coming. It's coming. That's a prediction I have, but there will be a lot of things like that. That's just one aspect of the technology and experience side of things, but there will be architects and story experts there. And our tentpole events are really all about educating everybody. It's all about professional development, but not just professional development. We have a huge community of next gens, and it's sort of changing in the next year or so how it's structured. But currently we have next gen clubs, TEA, USC, TEA, all UC Riverside, all these places, these universities that have their own club, and they're all studying concept art and experience design and all these different things. And they come and they always get a discounted rate, or they can come for free, or they get scholarships to our educational events, because we think that's really, really important.
Well, and that's incredible to hear too, honestly. So when I was first breaking into the industry, I won't say how many years ago, it wasn't that long ago, but it wasn't recently. It was very difficult to kind of carve a path, and especially for I have friends that now are in the entertainment side of the industry, and they had to kind of carve their own path. There wasn't there weren't really organizations inside universities who were helping people make that next step in the themed entertainment world. And I appreciate that you guys are doing that. And, it's one of the things that look, I say this all the time. I love B2B. I love the association world, but that's how we're going to continue to reach the next generation, is through our education programs, finding ways to carve those paths out for people. And I appreciate the great work you guys are doing over there.
Oh yeah. That we also have, they call them Jib Jab or Gib Jab or whatever, where it's sort of like speed dating for hiring of next gens. And they do that in Orlando. And I don't know the last time they did one here. And I don't know how recently they've done them in person, but people get jobs, they get internships. It's really great. It's a great way to enter the industry. And we've been really lucky to have so many get involved. But at the same time, people like me, we all need education, right? And so that's also what the TEA is here for. So it's great. I love it.
Well, look, I can't let you leave without the shameless plug. You work with a company called Hypervision. You guys are doing some incredible work.
Yeah.
Plug away, because I love the work you guys are doing. You made me a hologram. You made a hologram of me, which was weird and cool. But what's going on at Hypervision? Tell us the great work you guys are doing.
So the thing I love about Hypervision and our founders and our whole company is we are so innovative and always innovating. And just this year, we came out with this new platform. Okay, first of all, Hypervision is, we deliver holographic devices, displays, and experiences. But we manufacture them, but we also design content, but the thing that I love is we're always striving for the more realistic, the better, the more nimble experience, so you can have it. You don't have to have the box. You don't have to be in a box to do your hologram. You can do it a lot of different ways in many different environments. And this year we launched our Smart V platform. So the capabilities are endless. You could live stream. We could be live streaming, you and I sitting at a desk in a conference room right now, if people had the right technology and the green screen and this, setup. But it's coming. There's going to be holograms. It's going to be Minority Report very soon.
I don't know if that's the reference you want to make.
Well, not in a bad way. I don't mean that. I mean in terms of smart, and you don't want people always invading your eye space, right? But it's going to be smart. Like you would walk into a store, and this is already happening with digital signage. And it's happening with our holograms too, where you might lift something off the table and the hologram, the digital avatar starts saying, do you know you can wear it this way? Do you know you might want to try this scent, whatever it is. And it's all coming down the road because people love the experience. That's all there is to it.
I've had a good amount of experience with you guys, and I could say this, and going back to your point earlier, it's not always just about the innovation, but you guys at the core of Hypervision, your goal is to engage people and communicate effectively. And as long as that continues to be the core, you're going to have a longtime supporter in me. But Lisa J. Schanley, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Look, we got to have you back on. I think we might even run into each other at a couple shows here in the next couple months. But thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Ben. It was my pleasure.
And thank you guys for joining. Be sure to watch us next time.